welcome everybody. We are hitting it with our second talk in our defensive series. We've got the master Tony Medina, and we brought on one of his proteges and one of his counterparts, Heath Miller from North Carolina, joining us. So Heath, appreciate you joining Abandoning Buildings or wherever you're at out there in North Carolina, and glad you could be with us tonight. Guys, we're gonna talk a little bit about the softness and the sweetness of infielding. So soft hands, right? Soft hands. Where does it start? How do we train it? You know, everything from what it looks like at the top of the level of the game to, you know, working with the youngins. And Tony, we've got some great clips with you and some of your students too. So first of all, when I talk about soft hands, right? When I talk about that, Tony, what comes to mind when we start talking about that? Why is that such an important topic to talk about?
Well, if you think about soft hands, it helps you become a better infielder. Sometimes you can have the great feet and you set up perfectly, and then you have those rough hands, those stone hands, and it causes the ball to kind of just ricochet off your hands, your glove. And so you want to be able to, when you funnel the ball in softly, we like to also call it quiet hands, just cater the ball to the glove and not do too much work.
Why do you think there's not enough soft hands? Like, what's missing? What's that component to where we wish more fielders were ultimately looking at? I always do that little, that little why. What's missing? What's missing in our training? What can we do a little better that could help our kids soften up a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you, like anything else, at a young age, we like to start our players off on the receiving end. So if you think about young players, in the throwing progressions, and they're working on their snaps, from a couple feet away. And so if you're the receiver, even at a young age, we're working on something on the receiving end, and we like to work on not catching the ball. So on the receiving end, it's just kind of same thing, taking the ball out as quickly as possible and helping the young players understand that we're trying not to catch the ball. We're just thumb to thumb and just kind of letting the ball come off the glove into the hand. And so we're working on something as well as, snaps. We're also working on not catching the ball and having softer hands. And it's a feeling you get opposed to just catching the ball, taking the ball out and throwing it. It's just easily using those soft, quiet hands to get the ball from the glove to the hand.
And it sounds like, when you say not catch the ball, it sounds like we need to give our infielders almost a different perspective of what their glove really is, because it starts with the taco glove, right? It starts with taking your glove, and then you've got the backpack. You've got so many things in your backpack. So you fold the glove in half, and then you cram it into the thing, and then it comes out, and you're catching balls like this, right? You've got that crease, and I call it snatching, right? You're snatching balls, but it's really about seeing the ball seeing the glove as what? More like a paddle?
Yeah, it's funny that we're talking about that because, when I was in North Carolina with Heath at that last clinic, we got 50 kids out there, and we're asking them, hey, who has that nice $500 Easton Ghost bat? And everybody raises their hand. And who has another bat for training? And everyone's raising their hand. Who has a tee? And everyone's raising their hand. And I say, who has a training glove? And nobody raised their hand. And then so I raise a question. So it's all about offense. And, I get those smiles. And so you want to balance out your game and help players and parents and coaches understand, defense. You want to balance out your game with defense. So have some training tools, training glove, a flat glove, even take your glove off once in a while. And we do a lot of our practices, pregame without our gloves. So you get to use your hands.
Get to know where your hand is, right?
Yeah. And I tell people gloves are just made for safety. In the old days, we didn't use gloves, and they just use maybe some kind of spongy leather to absorb the ball coming at them too quickly. So
yeah. So actually, if I have it right, because I had a book given to me once called Glove Affairs, and it was the origin of the glove, right? So originally in the 1800s, it wasn't cool. Nobody used a glove, and then there was a big. I just want to say he was a tough first baseman. He was a power hitter, and nobody was going to mess with him. And he decided to take the sting away a little bit from his hand, and he used one of those yellow gardening gloves, right? One of those thick, that they're using in the fields. And it started with that. Nobody said anything to him. So it started at first base. And then from there, it developed from that simple glove that they were using to, the evolution of it, but pretty interesting. But it's almost like there's not enough appreciation for fielding, right? And you being a defensive specialist, I like the other day when you said when we started talking offense, you almost checked out of the meeting. But defense is your love and your passion. And Heath, would you agree there's not quite enough appreciation for defense and infielding, and therefore maybe even for how special your glove is, right? What do you think, Heath?
No, no, absolutely. And, until I started working with Tony and studying, people like yourself and some of the elite fielders, that I like to watch, I never even thought about it either. And when you think about in a game, you're maybe going to get, 3, maybe 4 at bats, but how many opportunities are you going to have in the field, So we're completely skewing it the wrong way. And it's just a brand new appreciation, and gloves, like Tony said. I remember the first time he came out here about 3 years ago. I had a flat pancake glove, and I loved my 14-inch flat pancake glove. After that, I had to get it sent off, because I don't need that glove to close.
I'll have when I do a session with a group, I'll say, all right, everybody get their gloves out, and players that do appreciate their gloves never like to drop it on the ground or anything, but I'll take a look at it, and then I'll say, all right, everybody hold their gloves out in front of you, and then drop it on the ground. And 99% of them are going to fold. They're just going to fold with that crease. And I just look at them, and I'll go over and I'll give a couple CPR, like I'm trying to, and then we talk about that. Just try to bring light, and then explain to our players the importance of putting not only 1, but 2 balls. Like, Tony, what would you recommend as far as putting the glove away in the back? And so many teams are down to the small backpacks, right? Consolidate space, make it a little bit easier. So what's your recommendation to coaches and players about putting your glove away to maintain that important shape?
It's funny too that we're talking about that, because people ask me what kind of gloves should I get. I'm over here at Big 5 and I'm looking at gloves. What should I do? And they'll call me on the fly and hey, we're here ready to buy a glove. Get a glove that's comfortable. Get a glove that feels good. And a lot of times it's the size of the glove may differ from brand to brand, from whether it's Easton or Rawlings. Just get something that's comfortable for you. And this glove right here that I have, it doesn't close. It's a training glove, but it doesn't close. So if you want to put a ball in there, that's great. Put it in your bag. But if you get the right glove, it shouldn't be that pancake glove, and it shouldn't close. So not even wrapping it up, but just make sure when you do put it away, it's not on a bucket of balls where it's going to flatten it out. Because you want to take care of your equipment. Sure. And a lot of times too, even we're over there with Heath and we're clowning around. And we're asking kids, hey, how much did you pay for that? How much did you pay for that glove? Kids like, $500, and they have a big old smile. And I go, I hope you got a receipt, because you're missing everything that's going in that glove there. So get your money back, kiddo.
If your nickname is hands like feet, that's not a good nickname. So you want to check your game a little bit, guys. I'm going to start again. I think I mentioned I got a little fancy and we did a little presentation here. So I'm going to kick it into my PowerPoint here and see if we can get this baby going. So again, we're calling this the second of our Firecracker defensive series. So official, Tony, right? Creating soft hands, right? How do you do it? So let's start with the standard, right? I mean, the standard, you sent me this clip earlier. And so this guy, right? And before I even mention his name, right? And so you'll watch somebody, some people have never even seen something like this, right? Like, what is this guy doing? He's not catching the ball. In fact, if we were to like have a whatever kind of stopwatch to how long is the ball even in his glove, right? Or how long does the ball even touch the glove? It's kind of scary when you think about it. I'll kind of slow this up a little bit as he's coming through.
What's important too, Tony, is separation. I remember last year when I got a chance to go to the University of Arizona and watch Mike Hendrez practice, and he was saying over and over to a few of the infielders, separate. So if you notice his hands, they're close together, and then they're separated, so you can get in a nice throwing position. So that's important too. Just, not catching and just separating, taking the ball away from the glove.
So Omar Vizquel, right?
When you get good at it, when you do it a bunch.
Oh, let me clear this guy. Hold on. Bring that down. Again, just the footage. This guy does a really good job of breaking down the game. So I love, and I think I fast forward a little bit too, because here, I'm going to go back to the beginning of this. And again, when the ball's hitting his glove. Oh, there goes Tony in his presentation. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's try it again. One more time. So we talk about deflections, right? We talk about the glove never closing. Look at the shape. And you know what I'm noticing too right there is that hand on the side a little bit that we talked about too, right? And we won't break it down too much because we want to get to the basics. But again, if you don't see it, right, you can describe Fred Astaire or Michael Jackson dancing, but it's another thing to see it. And not everyone's a visual learner, but so many of our kids are visual learners. So in fact, I just got sent an article to me in the email about, I talk about the privilege that I have of being sent to the pitchers rotation because the two guys playing shortstop in front of me in college both went to the big leagues. And one guy was just, I said, it was like watching Fred Astaire dance in front of me, and it was just ridiculous. And I'm going to kind of bring this up a little bit past this point. Hold on here. So Omar Vizquel being kind of that standard, right? But look where his hands are. I'm going to let this play.
And another thing too, Tone, is we really at a young age try to make sure the players are, not keeping that ball in the glove. As soon as it touches the glove, it's in your hand, you're getting ready to throw. Just like an outfielder, center fielder, let's say there's a player at third base and she's going to tag up, that hand above the, behind the ball, and then it's coming to the chest and separating. It's not in that glove. It's just out in your hand, getting ready to throw.
So it's kind of the beginning of what we call the turnaround. The ball is turning direction, changing direction. It's going from to you to away. And then we talk about these a lot in our video and stuff. The back is flat, right? He's got a flat back. You talk about head to the ball, things like that. So that's something, again, too. So many of us were told keep the rear end down when we were growing up, right? And so keep the rear end down, kind of expose the chest a little bit. But again, what does it look like? Okay, again, you can argue fielding like you can argue batting. And to me, that just takes years off your life. I love to discuss things, right? So on certain aspects of this game, when we talk about funneling and gathering the ball into the center line, again, everyone might have a different idea on how to do it, but it doesn't get any better than Omar Vizquel.
And Omar is one of the few players that I've watched that he won't funnel that ball all the way into the chest. He'll grab it if you watch it continue. He'll take it and kind of separate. And I know George talks a lot about that, but I watch a lot of infielders, and a lot of the infielders will funnel the ball to the chest, separate, and get their timing and balance down. But Omar is one of the few that won't bring it to the center, and he does a fantastic job just getting the ball out and getting balance.
Yeah, I think a point I'd like to make to coaches is I tend to concentrate more on funneling all the way in until a kid gets to that point to where they can play the speed of the ball, because the slower the ball, the quicker you can take it to your throwing hand. A one hot P-rod coming right at you, you got to allow that thing to kind of come back, and you got to kind of give it a hop a little more. So it's learning how to play the speed of the ball, but absolutely start with the true fundamentals, and then always be able to shave and cut time off, right? So we talk about, what I'll do is I'll go through a couple of basic drills that we start kind of breaking things down, and then it's going to kind of transition a little bit into some of the videos you sent me. So basic transfer drills for us, just deflections. These are called deflections on the glove side. And so often, again, just learning whether it's learning to use the wrist and kind of flexion and extension a little bit with the wrist. Again, I'll kill the video here. And this is Karis from Hawaii joining us this last week. She's here. Yeah. She's here training. And Emily from our team. And again, it starts with something simple. So these are forehand glove side transfers. And it's not that difficult, right? Start basic. Now, exciting, glamorous, can't wait to do it again? No. So you're not talking 200 of these, right? 2 sets of 10. That's it. 2 sets of 10, but just let the ball travel into the glove, keep it open, and transfer out. And I originally just, again, so they know the paddles working, is we're just going to hold the ball there and then eventually start separating from there. So we'll go from a basic drill there to deflections on the throwing side. Oh, that's actually the other side. Yeah, throwing side, that's right. And again, I'm going to kill that, kill the sound. I'll slow this down a little bit. So now when the ball's on the throwing side of the body, glove turns over, all right? Coming up from underneath. And just slowing things down. Gosh, I've seen you do things with 8-year-olds, right? 10-year-olds. You can't slow, and there's no level where it's too slow. So just go slow. Now, again, you don't need a 20-minute station here, but just something nice and easy. And I'll tell you what, I'm into little things like looking athletic, so making sure the knees are bent. You can do these drills with your knees straight. You can do these drills where your arms not 90s, but the more athletic that you present yourself, the better it's going to be. And now here, I think we're alternating sides on this one. So one glove side,
Love it.
one throwing side. And then what ends up happening is I would explain to coaches, hey, the first time you try this with your team, you're explaining every single one what to do, right? I'm saying ready, and then I'm saying flip, then I'm saying hold, then I'm saying ready. I'm walking them through the cadence so it doesn't get sloppy. So I'm going to put 2 lines, and I'm going to put all the balls on one side. Let's say the foul line, so third base line. And I'm going to say ready. Everyone's going to get in ready position, and I'm going to say flip. And then everybody flips at once. So I want to see it. I want to see the symmetry, right? And then I want them to hold it. Then I'm going to say ready again, to the point to where now, to the eye, it looks pretty good. And now you just cut them loose and you let them do it on their own. And as you're walking up and down the line, if you see something off, then I always tell it, again, if the drill's not successful, change the drill. But that's how simple a deflection drill can look.
But so valuable. So valuable.
Okay. So then we go from there to what we call the elbow pop. So you hear popping the elbow a lot in my dialogue. And again, why is that? Because now that next point, and again, there's a lot of phrases our kids kind of come up with. We've drawn that elbow back, and we know, again, hey, listen, outfielders are going to draw it down, right? Sometimes we got to come a little straight up. But again, being able to separate kind of that, what they call that scapular retraction, if you want to get kind of fancy, right? But bringing that elbow back. So now this is Carly Robbins, and she's just working on, I believe we've got a pitching machine on this one. So we've got a pitching machine. No, we're not firing it in there at 90 miles an hour, but it's got a nice, good, steady pace. So we got a consistent feed, right? We don't have somebody throwing balls at her. She's got to move because, again, I like ingraining a certain pattern over and over and over. So what she's doing here is just working on quickness. And whenever we work on quickness, like that one right there, I do want to push the envelope every now and then to where they miss the ball. So I'll go back a little bit here. This should be her second one. So she's going to get out. She might goof this one a little bit here. Watch this. So what is the envelope of too quick? Right? That ball rode up into her armpit a little bit, but I want him to know what is too quick. I think she's pretty clean on this one here.
Tony, have you ever heard that saying, don't sacrifice speed for accuracy, that a lot of coaches use? I get that in the game, but when you're trying to speed up the hands and have quicker hands, that's going to happen. And that's totally fine. And that's what you want. If you want to stay complacent and be like everybody else and not miss a ball, good for you. But if you want to, challenge yourself, you're going to miss. And so
I would say 80 or 90, 80-20 or 90-10 to slow and steady, build it right, but always push it. Don't stay in the slow drum beat. Like even a beginning drummer wants to see if they can do something fast, even though they can't, but you don't allow that to be the 80% of the concentration. Exactly. You don't want to play hot potato 80% of the time with your younger players, and then they're just goofing it all over the place. You want to always build it up. But I love the very last couple of rounds that we'll do, and we might have this in the next one. Let's see. No. Oh, so I was going to do on this one is when we went back from popping the elbow. So now Carly's in the SEC stage. So she's at South Carolina. And it's funny, these pictures are put in their media, right? So it's amazing to me how many times the point specific drills that we do where we separate things, those drills are being in their media. So when we are tagging deep, when we are popping the elbows, when we are taking to the top of the door, those are the ones that their photographers are recognizing. And next you know, you got a nice little, she's drawing her elbow back. So she's going to follow a sidearm there. So it's kind of cool to watch the transition from the drills in the backyard or the little blacktops that we train on to these big stages, right? And then I said, okay, so what's next, right? So we've got the deflections, we've got transferring from glove to hand, we've got create the separation, now start to pop the elbow, and I call this one the turnaround, right? So now we're starting to turn the ball around a little bit, and you can describe this drill a little bit. It's Tiari, and I'm not sure the other young lady.
It's Dee. It's Ed Garcia's daughter, Dee. She's but this is just a variation of the drill, and I know you're big on rhythm. Well, there's a lot of rhythm going on here, a lot of timing and rhythm. You can see the hips and the knees and the whole body working together. And a lot of times when you're not going to step, you're not going to shuffle, you need to get your body involved and create rhythm to get velocity. And you can see that with these two, because just smooth.
What do you call this drill?
Just a little quick hands, just the same thing, just a little variation of what we did earlier. So, part of our throwing progression, we'll work on just snaps and deflections. And then as we kind of back up a little bit more, We'll have
And
some
what are
fun.
your verbal cues to them? What's the either what they're visualizing, what are you what their
Well,
like
the main
their
thing on this
goals?
drill too, when we start backing up and start using a little bit more arm, obviously the closer you are, it's more wrist or snapping. But as we back up, we want to get that right foot back. So if you look at Tara, she has that right foot back to get her hips involved and to get a little velocity. Otherwise, you're not going to have that smooth look that you want. It's kind of like dancing too. You got to use the hips. Getting that right foot back allows you to get more hips in and get a little velocity on the ball. So even from 60 feet, you're going to see these players with that right foot a little deeper, get some velocity on the ball, and they'll be able to, turn a double play with not even stepping, just because they're so used to understanding their bodies and how it works and how to, get velocity on the ball by, not catching the ball in front and bringing it in, but like guiding it in and barely deflecting it by the chest and getting it out and getting velocity to the receiver.
You think these young ladies could skip some rocks?
Yeah.
We're talking about that, right? And I think again, what caught my eye with this is again, your position specific and you understand the components, but you get your kids grooving. And I think to find that rhythm, it's past the mechanical checkpoints. Now you've got to put them together. There's got to be some type of flow to it. And so that's when it starts to get fun to watch. And then I love that again, you've got videos of the younger ones, because the younger ones, listen, we're not looking for them to be polished dancers and polished rhythm. They're just beginning. So what types of things? And Heath, real quick, what are the ages of players that when Tony comes out to North Carolina, what are the ages of players that you guys are working with?
Well, our group are first year 14s, but I mean, we on my clinics that I have every week, I've got girls as young as 6 and girls as old as 16.
And they all integrate pretty good together, right?
They do. There's a few little things, when we're turning double plays, obviously I'm not going to have a 6-year-old on the other end, 60 foot away from an older person, but they integrate really well. You get to learn a lot, and the girls' parents love it because the girls have role models and they get to see things. And sometimes there's things that are what they think would be too advanced for their child, but when they get out there and we break it down into the smaller parts, they're able to see that they're able to go ahead and start building those, the correct muscle memory, at a young age.
It's interesting, guys. This made me think of too. You look at these two young ladies here, but when you take these two young ladies that I would imagine a little newer at the drill, but you put them next to these two, and what happens is it rubs off. It rubs
Absolutely.
off. I've watched sons of major leaguers learn how to play catch on the field at a big league stadium. So they're learning with the big leaguers playing catch next to them. So what they're seeing, they emulate a lot quicker versus just audio feedback, right? And what they're getting. And so I think that's pretty cool because you can see the difference. But then, Tone, I'm sure you're going to say that, look, give these kids a little time in the class and they're going to be looking just like the other two and everything starts to progress, right?
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch these kids, grow and develop, and you kind of know where they start and then watch them at the end. But yeah, nice. These kids are pretty awesome.
So we're talking about pushing the envelope, right? Pushing the envelope. So a lot of slow tempo. Let's do it right. But again, every now and then, it's just fun to let them go. How fast can you go, right?
I love it.
And so what we'll do is here, I mean, they're yelling and and I tell them, look, the faster it goes, the more you got to pay attention because next thing you know, that ball might get slung 5 feet past you. See, she's stopping with her hands there because I think what we were trying to do is get 3 in a row. But watch the way Emily even puts her hands like, don't throw it. Because we're going faster. But again, what does the transfer look like? So I'll start from this first one. You can break it down. And now they're not thinking technique. They're thinking just get rid of it. And then that's again, the one at South Carolina.
That's fun to watch.
And what I found is that, look, I'm going to be a little more diligent to the technique in and out. And then when we put a stopwatch on them, when we've got a 2-7 lefty, when we've got to, hey, get it around 3 times, then that's when they start to shave off time. And things are going to start to come around a little bit quicker. But they're not going to cut things off to the point to where it looks like they're short arming it, because I never see a big leaguer short armor. I never see a big leaguer shave time off and it looks like his arm is only half as long as it should be, right? So being quick also, though, doesn't mean compromise exactly the motion it looks. It's like a swing. When you shorten up your full swing, when you take a hack, but it's still the essence of the swing is there. So hot potato is something that I would, again, would you guys agree, suggest to all coaches to let your kids play? Because I don't think there's an age kid that doesn't like to play hot potato. And the hot potato challenge for us is, let's see if you can make it around 4 times around. So four stations, right? So 4 spots. Let's see if you can play it around 16 players, get it around 4 times. That's going to cover 16 players. Each of them is going to throw it around once, but can you do it 4 times as fast as you can? Okay, now they goof a couple, right? But whenever we're going hot potato, we don't need to say, well, see, you didn't separate or you didn't deflect. We're just going to, what I like to say is, I knew you couldn't do it. I bet you can't do it twice. It's me against you. And now they never want to lose to me. So whatever it is, and I say, hey, was 4 too many? Should we go down to 1? Should we go down? Now they're just getting competitive and they all start to group together rather than worry about make a mistake and not do it right again. They're like, we're going to beat Coach Tony here because he just said we couldn't make it around twice. And I ask a lot of coaches to kind of listen to that, because when you find yourself correcting a drill that either the drill's not right for them or it's just too fast, you got to slow down. You got to pull back a little bit. So a little bit on hot potato. But now we got, again, I just kind of throw my own tags on here, but now we got transfers around the bag, right? So I love this. Vic's always got such good music on this stuff, but just kids around the bag.
Yeah, and that's, what is that, Audrey? She's first year 10s, and you got Aaliyah. She's a second year 8U kid. Probably, hands down, in my opinion, probably one of the best kids in the country at her age. These are a couple of Chet's girls, 07 players, 12U. And just same thing, just kind of working on not catching the ball. And as you can tell, open glove, never sideways, always thumb to thumb.
And what's great here is, I mean, how old are these puppies?
So you got Aaliyah right there. She's the time we made this video, she was a second year 8U, and then we have Audrey right here. She's a first year 10U. And
you gotta love it, because look, again, and the coordination of just what we say now, it's around the bag. So now you've got footwork. Now you've got to be aware of what your feet are doing, because at some point, even if it's only 1 out of 50 games, there's going to be some kid in there trying to win the game coming out. If you're not ready, she's going to flip you upside down on the slide.
And you notice how when she gets her left foot down, she's ready to throw. So that's that timing that we talked about last time. So we get the ball coming out, lands that left foot, now we're ready to throw. If that left foot touches the ground, well, go ahead, Tom.
I love right there that her legs start to fall in what we call like almost in hitting position too. There's so many times when we're throwing, front leg firms up, back leg's a little bit bent. And again, you watch a pitcher throw a rise ball, you start to see the different, the similarities in there. But
she is so much fun to watch. I mean, come on now. And then we got
this is a quick little turn right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's what we deflect, and it's what we call from short to long, kind of what you were talking about last time. So we're going from short to long.
Long, right?
Just quick, and velocity. Just this kid right here, Sienna Maynard. She's probably one of the top, actually first year 14s in the country. She's just so quick. I got a chance to watch her in Utah a couple months ago and just put on a show out there. Same with Allie.
She played with Chet?
Yeah.
I remember her from the practice.
A couple El Segundo kids that just really just get it, and they work hard, but they understand what they're trying to do out there. So just quick.
Hey, I'm going to ask Heath this, if Heath can see this, but Heath, why are these kids smiling? What's this about?
So that number one, I love the energy and smile anyhow. But Sienna came out and played with me about 2 months ago, and everyone here, that's exactly what they raved about, was they've never seen hands or releases that quick before. Sienna's really quick with her hands and her releases. She doesn't necessarily have the strongest arm, but that ball is gone. She's got one of the quickest releases of any girl that I've seen at that age.
Again, so often when you're talking about this level, right, and the beginning type players, and hey, just simple motor coordination, but you're starting to see, like if you're talking about a professional type class, you're starting to see that already. You can call it whatever you want. You can say whatever you think you're teaching, but bottom line is, are you getting it done, right? Hold on, where am I going here? All right, round the horn. Check this one out.
Oh yeah.
This is just a nice little sequence, and then working Tiara in there.
Yeah, it's these kids are so talented at a young age. A little Hollywood there.
So Tony, you've had to have had this experience where these kids are working with someone like Tiara, and then again next year they're going to see her in the College World Series, and they're like, "Man, that's my workout buddy right there, right? That's special."
It's so special. I mean, just watching these kids and, little Abby right there. See how she doesn't have to reach with two hands? That we built that muscle memory in where we're not reaching for everything outside the body with two hands. She'll grab it on the outside, bring it to the chest and separate, where the hands meet. Again, going back to that center fielder, getting ready to catch a ball, bring it to the chest, separate, And I think there's one in here where it's really outside her body, but she stays, just flat back. And
look at that flat back. People, I'm telling you, take a video of your fielders. Is that back flat? Look at that. Put a glass of water on that. Man, it's not appreciated enough, guys. It's not, don't see it enough, right? And then opens up a little bit. Bam.
Yeah, Tanner's money too.
Look at that transfer. Come on.
You just totally just appreciate the work that goes into these kids looking so smooth at a young age.
Tony, you want to talk a little bit about Tiara? So for coaches that might not know who she is, we're calling her by her first name, but Tiara Jennings, what about her?
Yeah.
What kind of players? Where does she rank in the country?
She's up there. She, from a young age, she just, her work ethic was like nobody else's, and just, 7 days a week, she's just working. And what's great about Tiara is we bring her out with the young players, and she just teaches everything that she learned at a young age, and working with these, who we got Hollywood out there, and Ez and Abby, they love her. They love her.
Right,
she's a local kid that comes out and just loves working with the younger players. Just amazing.
Look at that right there. Holy smokes. Yeah. Tiara's a freshman at Oklahoma right now. And, again, I have all good faith that this season's going to get off, but that is some good stuff. So around the horn, hey, look, third, second, first, throw it around the bases, right? Four stations. So often the catch that we play is partner catch, right? And we do situations, but I love, four corners, stuff like that, getting it around. Good stuff. All right. So this was, you'd mentioned these things. So head and ball stay connected, right? One hand when ball's outside of the body. So let's take a look at this one.
Just having some fun, just getting some work in before the class starts. Oh, these kids, young age, just love it. These kids are some ballers right now.
So again, explaining to coaches, right? If you can handle the stick, great. If not, one of our coaches just bought one of the little ATEC machines, little 3-wheel machines, couple grand, but you're better off investing in that, because if you noticed, and regardless of the edits here, what you're doing is you're seeing the same ball. So watch where Tony's hitting the ball. It's basically the same ball. And so what you do is you create the same line. When you create the same line, you get the same footwork, right? When you get the same footwork, you create consistency, and it starts to happen over and over and over. So that's one of the first things that really stuck out, because they're not concerned with where the ball's going. Did I just do that again? All right, here we go. And so if they're not sure, so this is something I want all coaches to understand. When you're out there on a dirt field and you're the butcher boy, the tomahawk Tommy, and you're just butchering the ball on the ground, and you think you're doing a good job, and you think hitting the ball as hard as you can is what they need. So look at her face. If that ball is about to take a bad hop, or she doesn't know, she's not about to stick her face in there, because it's an innate reaction like, look, I don't know what's going to do. What you're seeing right now is the opposite. She absolutely knows what the ball is going to do, so she commands it. And what I want coaches to understand is that when you build this type of confidence, then when the ball takes a bad hop, it surprises them. But when you're on an unmanicured field and the ball's going too fast, and you realize that true hops are very important. Turf, concrete, basketball courts, like true hops are important, so that the kid can know what to expect from the ball. When the ball's not bouncing true, so, I get the idea, but I don't know. The worst drill for me would be those off-centered balls that are bouncing all over. I get it. Reflexes. And stuff. I don't know what the ball's going to do, right? And so if you look at their eyes here, I think it's amazing, because they are expecting to catch the ball. Look at that. That is not a face of somebody that doesn't know what the ball's going to do.
These kids are ballers, man. Oh,
dude, this is great stuff, man.
Just so much fun to watch.
So again, I see your drills where you're not starting like this. You're taking tennis balls and throwing them short hops. You're about 10, 12 feet in front of them, bouncing the ball so that they can gather themselves and approach the ball. Because this right here, as the head goes forward, I don't see this in most 18 under players.
Yeah.
They're coming in their heads up. They're not sure, so they don't approach that ball. And yet you could see pretty much all at major league infielders as they approach the ground ball, their head goes forward, their back starts to flatten out, and they get themselves in position.
And again, Tony, if you notice, when she lands, that left foot lands, she's ready to throw. A lot of bad throws are made when that left foot lands and the ball's not in a ready throwing position. And that's where the transfer comes in,
Right,
you know, like we talked about. Yeah, as soon as that left foot lands, she's ready. She's that B slot ready to go. It took me years to understand where are these bad throws coming from. It's that timing that you talked about, that rhythm. So when that left foot lands and the ball's not out, you know, there's a possibility of you know, not throwing with accuracy.
Well, like
Look at
always,
that.
Tony, you teach me something every time, so I don't think I've ever even
no.
really looked at it. Look at that.
This money.
Look at that face.
And again, so she's tucking the glove too. Just at a young age, that muscle memory, you know, taking the time through your throwing progressions to just slow things down and understand what we're trying to do instead of just going out there trying to get warmed up. Hey, coach, I'm warmed up, but were you working on anything? Did you work on snaps, tucking your glove, separation, follow through, whatever?
There's a behavior here that, again, I hope coaches are seeing, because that's what I'm drawn into. Drills are drills. They're great stuff, but there's a certain mindset that these players have right now. So there's your one-hander coming out. Almost done. I'll go one more. Good stuff. So there again, there's Carly back on here. This was her other shot. Again, so on social media, they're putting this. But again, same thing. You're seeing your kids do it at an extremely young age. As Carly is approaching that ball, she's not thinking technique here. All this stuff is kind of built in now. But look at it. She's crossing over. She's got her head towards the ball. Her hands are out in front. So whatever's going to happen, she's going to have a nice, easy transfer. Again, the feedback that I'm getting, she's doing really well. Nobody looks for behavior, but everybody notices it. Nobody looks for rhythm, very few people, but everybody notices it. So the simple progression of drills, the starting from, you got to have a physical model that you emulate, something we started with Omar Vizquel. You got to have a starting point. So I just use deflections as one example of a starting point. I think we had mentioned that, I think it was Ozzie Smith basically put a paper bag over his hand, right? And then just made a pocket, and then that was his first glove, you know, something like that. So, you know, the beauty of our game is that it can be taught and learned so simply. And yeah, we have a lot of cool things. So, you know, again, training glove, anything that you can get to facilitate your learning is good, but don't think that it's always dependent on it. It just, what it does is it accentuates things. So, you know, I think I got one more slide. I'm not sure what I got. Wait, what's this?
Uh-oh, what's this right here? Here we go.
This? Oh, wait. That was it. What was it? What the? Oh, that was just a shot of the old farts kind of out there hitting handling the stick. That was a lot of fun that day though, man. So guys, you know, again, thank you. I don't want to do an hour and a half on transfers, but I think it's important to cover a lot of the basics. So kind of as we wrap it up, anything to kind of send the coaches home with, Tone or Heath, any last thoughts on it?
Well, you know what's interesting is sometimes when you see a player that's, you know, maybe, I don't know, 14, 15, and you hit some fungo to them and you watch them field and they're not the sharpest and you know, that kid loves softball, but she was just never given the tools or the information to be that top ball player that she wants to be. And you know, it's kind of a shame because, you know, she loves softball, she loves infield, but at a young age, she was never taught, you know, some of the things that we just talked about. So what we're trying to do right now is just get out to as many kids as possible, get some videos out there. And even this, just helping coaches and parents understand, you know, it's not that difficult. You know, buy a couple of videos. If you go on, you know, Firecracker on Demand, you know, man, they're there. They're there. Go on YouTube, Google, you know, Omar Vizquel, and just, you know, try to figure it out before they're 16. Because, you know, when the parent comes up and, you know, says, hey, what do you think about my kid's infield? You know, well, I hope she can hit, you know. So you want to get them at a young age. You want to get them at a young age. It was just good muscle memory, good fundamentals. So
right. Well, I think that's a great point. And Heath, you know, we always like to bring in, you know, some of the coaches that are working. I always say, and I believe this holds true for Tony, it's like we're not claiming to be anything other than guys that love the game, and we're students, but we've had some things that work. So we want to share those recipes. But I kind of look at it as, seeing the game through, so let's say seeing infielders and developing infield work through Tony's eyes, right? Through Tony's
Right.
glasses. And whether it's Firecracker softball school, seeing the game through our eyes, and not just ours, other coaches in our program. We have a lot of coaches that have a lot of experience. So what would you say to coaches out there that are still, again, we've got a lot of things going on, but still need to find that in time to invest in some of these videos? And are they helpful?
Absolutely. 100%. The videos on Tony's website, and even the videos on our Firecracker On Demand. Today I was watching the one with you and Sean Bashir. So it was really funny that you just said you made a sarcastic comment to your team, right? And you were that sarcastic coach, and I'm kind of that same sarcastic coach as well. But why reinvent the wheel? There's people that have done it and they're really great at it. So let's go study the people that are great at what they do, and let's incorporate that into into what we do. As a teacher, people have taught before me, so I don't make all these ideas up on my own. I go steal great ideas and then use them.
Well, that's what we all are. And I think that's an important point too, because if we're passing on things that other coaches can't utilize, then it's just kind of stuck, right? But you feel most of this material is something that coaches can apply themselves, right? We try to keep it simple.
Absolutely. And I think the thing they have to keep in mind, though, is kind of, nobody has said it tonight, but everything that you've said has kind of flowed along the same line, is that you've got to go slow to go fast. You got to take the slow times and build that muscle memory. And then, as we get into it later, like one of Tony's drills, we run the 4 corners drill. We go really slow and we just work on driving that left knee to the ground and then getting in that separation, and we go really slow. But then as we get into it, all right, let's go fast. Speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. And we try to speed things up and just but you've got to go slow before you can go fast.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's Coach Mike Giammi right there, and one of our leadership group directors, and that's good stuff. So, guys, listen, we're going to keep this rolling. So we're going to figure out where to take this from here, and whether it's footwork around turn and 2 or whatever it is. We got a lot of things to do, but appreciate your time, Tony. As always, I know you're a busy guy, and you're actually not flying out anywhere this weekend.
No, I'm heading out to Washington in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, the team's out in Arizona this weekend, though. They're going to do well.
And is that a battery operated? What is that on?
This is my little pug, Pawn.
Who do we have?
Yeah. This is Pawn. I'm going to send some video of Pawn when I get back from one of my trips. Yeah, she's excited to see me, but right now she's just chilling out.
She got a training glove? I thought you were going to show me that she's going to field ground balls on a skateboard or something. I'm going, that's it, man. I'm out of your league now. I'm not.
Baby right here. Yeah,
I'm not qualified. So, all right, guys, appreciate your time. We're going to get it.
Oh, thanks, man.
At this again, and again, I hope we're helping out people out there in the long run of what they're trying to get accomplished with their kids. So, thanks,
appreciate
guys.
you guys. Thank you.
Real soon. Okay.
Bye bye.
All right, thanks, guys.
You got it.